A poll conducted by Balance showed that 7 out of 10 women over the age of 50 said that menopause was responsible for their divorce. Let's talk about it. In this video, we'll be looking at how menopause affects marriages, the underlying reason, and we'll explore one important way to keep your marriage afloat, especially if you've enjoyed a healthy and supportive marriage before menopause struck. A quick statistics, a UK survey showed that X% of divorces in the UK are initiated by women in their 40s to 60s. Can you guess what percent? If you guess 60%, you're absolutely right. And we know that these ages coincide with perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. An article titled Uncovered, the Menopausal Divorce says that there seems to be a correlation between menopause and divorce rate. It also shows that one of the biggest concerns men and women have when it comes to menopause is the loss of physical intimacy, which is also referred to by our people as the other room. But we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Putting a face to the start, let's listen to a husband's story which was left on Quora. We will refer to him as Mike for the purpose of this video. His story is really touching. He says, "Help! It's almost impossible to handle her mood swings. She's going through menopause and her irritability can last for weeks, if not months. She always had mood problems, but it has been worse the last couple of years. The silent treatments, the lack of affection, the short, snappy answers. I don't know my wife anymore. She blames me for almost everything. I don't want to live miserable, she has told me many times. I don't do enough around the house, she tells me. About 3 weeks ago, we spoke of needing to spend more time alone on dates and going back to church. But now she treats me like dirt. Like she hates me and does not want to talk to me ever again. We're in the process of buying a house and I don't know how is that going to go. God forbid if the closing of the house does not go as planned. I sometimes wonder if she wants to divorce me and if she loves me anymore. But I cannot ask her or confront her because she shuts down even more. Any advice would be greatly appreciated." I was really touched by this comment and I can only imagine how many husbands out there are in this situation or have been in the past. And the way it looks, if not for the grace of God, this will not end well. Like Mike, a lot of men are wondering what happened to the loving, sacrificial and patient woman you married. Mike asked for advice and I have something which I believe will help coming up soon. From the woman's perspective, she's going through a lot of changes, from the physical symptoms like hot flashes, which make us so uncomfortable, to the emotional symptoms, the mood swings, irritability, constantly feeling tired and stressed out. We women also wonder what happened to the loving woman you married. We don't recognize the woman we become. Turns out that there are up to 60 different menopause symptoms that women could be experiencing, just like Mike's wife. Women often develop dryness in the vaginal area as well as an increase in infections that makes sexual activities more painful. Add to that decreased libido and you begin to see why physical intimacy becomes unappealing. This can be confusing for both men and women in a relationship and reduce the amount of intimacy shared between the two. This can be incredibly stressful and hard to understand. It's just the same as locking up the door to the other room and throwing the key into the lagoon. So now we've looked at the stats, we've looked at the male and female perspective, but what if there's one hidden culprit which we need to call out? Yes, you guessed right, it's called estrogen. In a nutshell, estrogen is the sex hormone responsible for the development and regulation of the female reproductive system. What is not always highlighted is that estrogen is also responsible for giving women the nurturing feelings and helps women stay focused on building their home, being loving, and being there for the husband and the children. As women progress, or should we say regress, into menopause, their levels of estrogen get lower, which means that their feelings of nurturing aren't as strong anymore. Many women describe it as having the rose-colored glasses taken off. We begin to see people for who they really are and we start setting boundaries and cutting off relationships that aren't serving us in any way. This affects friendships, jobs, and yes, the marriage relationship. The friendship turnaround happened to me also, so I can relate. I went from being so fond of a particular girlfriend to disengaging myself from her completely a few years ago. And I must say that it was a good decision to do this. Well, that's another story for another day. So now we blamed estrogen as the cause of all our troubles, or at least the lack of estrogen. What is the solution? This is the most important thing and can save your marriage. Tell your husband what you're going through in whatever way you can. Sit him down at home at the weekend. Go on a trip. Break it to him there where you have his full attention. Share short videos with him. Perimenopause, in my experience, can be one new symptom every week or some new symptom a month, and it doesn't take long before it begins to look to him like one day, one trouble. But you both need to navigate the great change, as it's often called, together. Let's look at it this way. If even you cannot recognize yourself since perimenopause hit, how is the poor man supposed to make any sense of why his darling wife suddenly can't stand him, won't even let him come within 7 feet of her, not to now talk of intimacy? Jennifer Moore, in her article titled Menopause and Men, a heartfelt letter to my male partner, suggested writing him a letter. Her letter starts like this. Dear you, I need to talk to you about something I'm going through. It's called menopause, and it's making me experience all sorts of symptoms like hot flashes, night sweats, and a lack of sexual desire. It's also making me feel irritable at best and rage at worst, as well as depressed and anxious. I've been researching and learning about it, and there are 34 recognized symptoms. You might have also noticed that I put weight, especially around my belly, and it's making me feel awful. Far from sexy. In fact, I feel miles away from my usual confident, happy self. It's confusing and quite scary. Can I ask you to please bear with me while I struggle through this? I know you feel uncomfortable talking about menopause, but I'd appreciate it if you'd communicate with me about it. Perhaps even learn with me. Maybe we could start walking together or going on date nights. I still welcome all the hugs you can give me, emphasis on the word hugs. Do you know I need your love and support more than ever right now? And if you want to give me a nudge and point out if I'm behaving a bit out of character, that would be okay too. Oh, I think this is a great way to do it. But you know what? A conversation works too. You do whatever you think works best for you. However you do it, you need to communicate. If you're going through this, remember that many couples successfully navigate this transitional period and emerge with a stronger and more resilient relationship. Open communication, understanding, and support from both partners can make a significant difference. Seeking counseling or therapy can also provide valuable support during this time. Ultimately, while menopause may pose challenges for some couples, it does not automatically have to end in divorce and can be an opportunity for growth and understanding within the relationship. To avoid stories that touch, please safeguard your good marriage by telling your partner all you're going through. Let him know that it's not him or anything he has done or hasn't done. It's all about you and your hormones. Most importantly, take good care of yourself and don't forget to be your sister's keeper. Feel free to share your experiences in the comments below.